Space Action Podcast! With your hosts, Chris Carson and D.C Chris.
Welcome to Space Action Podcast, a division of Space Action Heroes, a webcomic you can find at spaceactionheroes.com. I'm Denise Owenshama.
I'm Chris Carson.
Say, Carson, you look a little worse for wear today.
Yeah, just as a little preamble, I got a puppy 6 days ago, so I normally sound pretty stupid on this podcast, but this particular podcast, I'll be sounding much.
Me and 2/3 of the audience are like, what's the problem? But like a third of the audience who owns dogs are like, just like, shit.
Right?
Oh, what day you want?
It's 6.5 weeks old, so it's still like, puppy!
Like, and I've seen you in a state. I've seen you rather hammered before, but you're like rough for wear right now.
I've my whole life, just genetically, I've always had like darkish circles under my eyes. But right now, I imagine I look like some sort of cracked out raccoon. Like, it's insane.
It's not that bad. It's more so I'm saying that you're drinking a thing of Canada Dry tonic
water. Yeah, whatever.
Water.
Canada Dry tonic water. I developed a little bit of a taste for it.
It's fucked up. At least mix it with something as psycho.
I think it's just the sugar. I'm just like, sugar.
Oh, yeah, especially at this point.
Speaking of psychos.
Sleep-deprived psychos.
Yeah.
This week,
we're talking about
a very special film. Was that your Stephen Hawking impression?
That was my Stephen King impression, ironically.
Oh, okay. Joker! The Todd Phillips masterpiece. Joker.
I think we
starring
have...
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix. I think we have a differing opinion on the Joker a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Because I quite enjoyed it.
Okay.
I really did dig it.
Well, how should we delve into this? Brief synopsis. A man down his luck in 1982, 85?
I don't know if they ever actually say the year, which I really liked. That it almost had that Burton-esque timelessness to it.
Sure.
Because they never specifically say what year it is, but everything just looks old and grimy.
Yeah, that's true.
I love the Gotham City in this movie.
The 80s Gotham version.
The quote-unquote 80s Gotham, because it's just so fucking gross looking.
Right.
It feels like somewhere that needs a Batman.
Yeah, that's true. Or like this city's ready to burst and all that shit.
I think it's like next to the animated series Gotham and the Tim Burton Gotham. This Gotham holds up, I think.
Sure. It looked a lot like Nolan's version, but like dirty.
It was like Nolan's version with a paintbrush of comic book on it.
It reminded me of, not surprisingly, I went to New York City in 1991, and I still remember being in Times Square where people were like huddled around garbage cans on fire and shit. Like, it was in a rough state. But, like, yeah, they really... That's the one thing I will give this movie. They nailed the aesthetic of, like, a gritty 80s Gotham. I'm like, oh, it's so good.
Do you know where they shot it? Did they shoot it in Toronto?
I want to say it was Chicago. Because I remember seeing...
Chicago.
Almost 2 years ago now, them filming that scene where he's in... Spoilers, he gets hit by the car at the end. And I remember, I want to say that was, it was either the big three, Chicago, Philadelphia, or New York. It was one of those three.
Which is the filthiest current city
in
America.
Well, I'm trying to think which one has that L train kind of, he was underneath the gantry, wasn't he? Like the...
Because that's where they shot The Dark Knight then.
Well, I think New York still has them, I think somewhere, but it's not operational, or... I know there's the High Line in New York. That's a decommissioned one that has a park on it. But I'm 90% sure there's at least 1 or 2 subway lines in the north that still have that overpass.
Thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I for some reason, and again, I'm sleep deprived, but I thought it was Toronto for some reason. Did they shoot some stuff in Toronto?
Maybe some pickup
or something. I could be 100% wrong on that.
Okay.
But so you didn't really dig it. Can you? Is there a pinpoint to it?
No, man. It's just kind of like overall. I guess my biggest problem with it is that like. It's a sequence of things that facilitate... You know, first of all, exactly where it's going. There's no doubting that this guy is clearly going to fall off the deep end at the end.
Well, it's called Joker. Yeah.
I mean, but let's pretend like we didn't... I'm trying to think of an example. Like, Because I don't see this as, like, a comic book movie.
No.
You know, the way, like, you go into Batman knowing this dude's going to put on the cowl and beat the shit out of dudes.
I think even said it's a Joaquin Phoenix movie with Joker
with Joker, and that's the problem I had with it, was just kind of trying to have its cake and eat it too in a lot of ways with that shit, where it was a story about a dude who's just, like, whose society failed, really. Like, he wasn't really a bad dude, it's the world he was in, and, like, the real fucking enemy of this movie is cuts to fucking... the funding for public health and shit.
And kind of Thomas Wayne.
And kind of Thomas Wayne.
They just inverted it, which I kind of liked.
But to me, at the end of it, I was like, he's not the Joker, this guy. He's just...
no, he's an interpretation of it. He's a one-shot. He's like Vampire
exactly,
Batman.
He's just like this fucking dude who just happens to become the guy that we saw on the poster. I don't really see him as, like, being a powerful character or, like, a fucking... by any stretch of the imagination, exhibiting anything that the Joker exhibits in terms of, like, he's a supervillain in the Rogues Gallery. Even if this was his origin story, I'm just like, but he's just a dude who, I don't know, was a mentally unstable dude who stopped taking his medication, so he goes off the rails and kills a guy. I'm like, that's not a story. To me, that's not a fucking movie.
Fair enough. I guess because it's not... It's completely standalone.
Yeah.
They may even do a sequel, maybe, and just further adventures of this character. So I didn't go into it with any kind of comic book lens of like he's the Dark Knight's greatest rogue or he's a super brilliant genius or anything. I just sort of went into it to see an exploration of madness, and on that level, I think it succeeded really well for me. The avenue to go to a tipping point that there's no return from, and how a character can get there, I found incredibly fascinating. And just and I like that they didn't beat you. Like, I heard some people complaining like that they weren't obvious enough with things. But I think that's used. I think it's going in with the comic book movie mentality of like, well, I need to be beat over the head with what's going on. Sure. Because they just peppered in his motivations and peppered in his reasoning like a fucking indie film. Right. And I really dug that. I really dug that it just felt like, because I think it cost like $50 million to make or something. Right. So it was almost like they tricked Warner Brothers. Like, we want to make a movie about a psychopath's descent into madness. Hey, can we just make it the Joker? Cool, great. Now we have brand recognition. We can get it out there.
That's the problem. Like, if it was like any other movie, I'm like, it was an alright movie. But the fact that you try to push it as like it's the Joker origin story, I'm like, it's.
Did they push it as that though? Because I remember an interview with Todd Phillips. He said
front and center, takes up the whole screen. The opening title card, like
no, but like Todd Phillips said he based it a lot off The Killing Joke, where in the line, if I'm going to have a history, I prefer it to be multiple choice. Yeah. So the final scene in the movie when he's talking about you wouldn't get the joke. We're spoilers now. When in the very end of the movie, Joaquin Phoenix says, or Arthur Fleck says, who's not even Arthur Fleck. I like that they kept him a mystery. He's some orphan, right? And he laughs, and he is not his manic laugh. And they said that's the first time he's laughing in the movie, actually laughing. He only laughs actually once, and they really wanted to play on the idea that the movie could have been just a story he was telling his psychiatrist in the psych ward.
And that kind of goes with like the whole Deadpool changes the course of the movie and the closing credits for the...
I guess, but that's like bitching about The Sixth Sense though, isn't it?
But The Sixth Sense is like, okay, that's clearly from one character's perspective. We have a verifiable source and an unreliable character. So like Bruce Willis is our unreliable character, and all of a sudden Haley Joel Osment, you rewatch that movie, he tells him straight up and down, I see dead people, right? Mm-hmm. The Joker's entirely from one person's vantage point.
Well, we get hints of it with his girlfriend.
But that's just it. When it got to the point where his girlfriend, it turned out, didn't have a relationship with him whatsoever.
He was just fucking insane.
He was just fucking crazy and imagining the whole thing. So I'm like, so how much of this is in his head now?
Right. But like, I liked that.
It's like the Kaiser Soze plot twist, but without showing he's in the corner all the time.
I liked that that in the final scene of the movie, you're going... Wait, was this all bullshit? Is this the Joker fucking... Is that the joke?
Is that he was just fucking with us the whole time?
This whole story was just him fucking with us? I kind of dug that. I appreciated that.
That bugs me. I don't know. That's just gonna be... To me, that comes off as just like... We wanted to come up with something that was kind of a Joker origin story. Like, just the ham-fisted way... What? Like, trying to tie in the Wayne family for the 50th time. I'm like, okay, how small is this fucking city?
How many times are her pearls going to get ripped off?
Oh, my God.
No, I have to, as a caveat, because I did really enjoy it, but I do want to say right off the bat, the Waynes shouldn't have been in it.
It shouldn't have been in it.
Because even when you look at his motivation with his mother and losing his... He didn't need to be there. And that really felt to me like a studio note.
It was really... And that's one of the things that took it down a grade for me. I was like, why are you shoehorning in...
That takes it down a grade for me, too.
This whole subplot about him potentially being Batman's half-brother. But, oh no,
He's
we
not.
still leave him, like, ambiguous because we can't fucking shit on that part of the Joker's origin story.
But then also, like, as much as I hated the Waynes being in it, it could have been another rich family and added to the layer of confusion. And like, I didn't mind that they played up that he was maybe Bruce Wayne's half brother, because it could have been Richie Rich, and it's just still the idea of all the lies compounded on lies.
They could have been like he was adopted by the Cobblepot family,
right?
You know what I mean, or something like that.
I didn't mind that it was so twisty, that he was just constantly learning the truth he thought was real wasn't, and it was pushing him farther and farther over the edge. And then again, like we said, it all ends up if maybe none of it's true. I don't know. I liked it.
That drove me nuts, man. The second it got to like that Fight Club reveal, like Zazie Beetz is like, wait a minute, you're Arthur Fleck from down the hall. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, how much of this is this bullshit then? Like, it's a non-movie at that point to me, and I'm like,
That's fair.
I also made the mistake of, because Scorsese was producing it, and it had like, facets of Taxi Driver and King of Comedy.
Wasn't De Niro great though?
I watched the two of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know, to me, this is just a giant homage with clown makeup after a certain point, because you're watching a scrawny dude who's falling down. Spoilers for Taxi Driver and fucking King of Comedy.
These ancient movies.
Yeah. Taxi Driver, Travis Bickle, former Marine who comes back to New York in the 80s and has to, because he's trying to get so much money, he's doing all these jobs in like the worst parts of fucking 1980s New York City. He eventually reaches the breaking point and goes on this not even anti-hero mission. His intent is to kill.
But he's killing horrible people. But he's basically the Punisher.
But the thing is, his original intent is to kill When I rewatched it, this is a whole subplot I forgot about. He's into fucking Sybil Shepherd. She rejects him. And then so he's like, well, then fuck everything that she believes in, including this Palatine motherfucker. That's where he starts going on this quest to kill the nominee, that one dude. When that goes south, then he decides to go save Jodie Foster.
Kill all the pimps.
Because he has all these guns. He's like, well, I got a gun
Gotta
hard on. Gotta shoot someone, so I'm going to go shoot Harvey Keitel. And I'm just like, okay, so that at least has some sort of anti-hero closure, because you're like, he saves the girl in the end. Again, might be in his head. Has all this closure that like there's a reason.
Oh, Taxi Driver?
Yeah.
I don't think it was. You mean the final blip shot?
Yeah.
I always interpreted that as being that he because we're left thinking he's better.
Yeah.
I always interpreted that as no, he's not.
He's not, because there's that quick shot where he looks at them for like his face is all red. But having said that, at least at that movie, there's a purpose to all of that shit. King of Comedy is again,
I've never seen the King of Comedy.
Dude, you saw it, but with clown makeup. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's all about De Niro, and he finds this late night talk show host that he's obsessed with, play with Jerry Lewis. So he meets him outside the show in the first 5 minutes. Like, there's fans mobbing him, so he breaks him off. And he jumps in the limo with Jerry Lewis, and he's just like, listen, I'm a huge fan of your work. My name's Artie Pupkin. I'm a stand-up comedian. You have to see my stuff. And slowly, as we get to know this guy, like, they're like, okay, well, you have to go through the procedures, right? You have to like talk to an agent and all that shit. You have to send us a tape. As we go into Artie's life, you realize this dude's fucking nuts. Like, he has cardboard cutouts of Jerry Lewis in his living room.
Doesn't he have his own little Harley Quinn too?
Kind of. There's this chick he's seeing in the bar. She's more like Zazie Beetz in the film.
Okay.
In Joker. So anyways, the long short of it is that he goes on the network. He kidnaps fucking Jerry Lewis, blackmails his way onto the show. No one knows where he is. His demands are like, I have to be able to do my set, and then I'll tell you where he is.
Right.
We don't see his set. It's kind of interesting the way they stage it. So it cuts right before he starts, and it ends with him walking off stage. Then he goes to a bar to see the girl that he's trying to impress. And at this point, she's like, you're fucking crazy. Stay away from me. So he just flips the TV on, and you watch his set, and he crushes it. He's fucking hilarious. Like, and everyone loves him. So I'm like, again, there's payoff to like all that shit that dude went to. The commentary being that, like, sometimes media sensationalism and celebrity worship is a fucking terrible thing. And the movie ends with him getting a career out of it. He goes to insane asylum for a bit, but when he's out, book deal, late night show, everything. The Joker movie, I have a hard time seeing, like, okay, so you took a guy who's mentally unstable
and a failure, and wants nothing more than to be appreciated.
But like, and then taking him off his meds.
He does his big bow at the end.
He loves to dance. I get it. He's a big fan of his white boy dancing.
I loved that dance though.
But like, to me, it's just like you're watching a dude just slowly devolve into a killer. I guess that's not what bugged me the most, as it was the real push of like it became a movement. That I don't really see how fucking killing 3 Wall Street dudes would start this V for Vendetta movement of people wearing clown masks.
There's been times in history where once the act of disobedience has sparked a
Sure,
powder keg.
but like if it becomes a plot point, like he wants to be seen, so he's posing Christ like at the end of the movie on top of the fucking cab, and people are cheering him on. So I'm like, okay, but you didn't earn this moment. It doesn't make any sense to me. How, like, the series of events, why the fuck would Robert De Niro invite a dude who bombed at a comedy club onto his show so he could assassinate him and start the riot? Like, we wanted that ending, but the steps it took to get him, the same with like the whole Thomas Wayne thing. I'm like, they're giving him reasons to go nuts, but they're just facilitating that end that we need of him being the Joker. It didn't string together or really make sense to me. I'm like, why the fuck is any of this happening? Like, you're taking a caged animal, a wild dog, and poking it with a stick, and then trying to make me surprised whenever it jumps out of the cage and bites me in the balls. I'm like, no, I get it, but like, to me, there was no, not subversion, not subtlety, but like, there was no reason to any of it. I just have a hard, like, the second I came out of the theater, I was thinking about it, and I was just like, why did any of that need to happen? Why was that the story of the Joker? Like, what did that...
A Joker, yeah.
It's a Joker. I would have... In my head, and I don't want to be that guy who rewrites the end of the movie, but like... Because he keeps, at the end, putting the gun to his head.
Because his whole plan was to kill himself on live TV.
Exactly.
To make his death mean something, yeah.
But then all of a sudden...
He just snaps.
He goes on this expositionary rant about why his character is his character. Like, people don't pay attention to me! And he shoots De Niro. I thought it would have been way more sound if he just went full Bud Cort. Just a disclaimer, if you're got a squeamish stomach, don't Google search Bud Cort. But if you don't, you ever seen Bud Cort?
Is that the old time footage?
Yeah, the dude blowing his brains out.
His head collapses.
That ending and just cutting to the riot, I think, would have made me happier. Of just being like, oh, there was a reason to all that. That dude's slow descent into madness ended with him starting a movement because he did something like astounding on television, killed himself, and he kind of becomes like, you know, a symbol of what pure chaos in that city could be. It
wasn't really about chaos, so that's more the Heath Ledger Joker.
Well, maybe not chaos, but necessarily like people didn't give a shit about this dude. He was willing to literally die for his cause. You've just opened the floodgates.
He didn't have a cause though. He even says, I'm not political, I don't have a cause. He just wants to be famous. That's all he wants.
And I think that's why
that's all. But I love that simplicity of like, because, I mean, that speaks to so many people in 2019.
Right.
A generation raised thinking that we're special when we're not. And all he wants is to be special.
That whole subplot kind of like, you could feel like they're like, we're talking about 2019, even though it looks like the 80s. Yeah.
For sure. Well, it had to speak to contemporary
audiences.
Yes,
totally.
Yeah.
Like, especially like the whole like kill the rich 1%er kind of shit.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't. To me, it was missing a little something to make me actually give a shit about what exactly I knew was going to happen. Like, you see the trailer, you look at the poster, you're introduced in the first 5 minutes. I'm just like, okay.
The trailer showed way too much. I remember I remember watching the second trailer and I went, oh, I feel like I've seen this movie. They made that fucking mistake that Warner Brothers makes, where they showed, it's like the mistake Sony makes, where like, oh, there's the whole, I know Bobby De Niro is going to get shot on live TV, so it was no surprise.
Right.
When Bobby De Niro gets shot on live TV, because where else could that have gone with the Joker going on his show?
Also, why would that dude want to become a stand-up comedian?
I don't know.
Bring joy to people's lives. That's a terrible fucking idea.
His mother always told him he was gonna. But I love that scene though when he's in the comedy club, laughing at all the wrong times and doing his notes, his psycho. I like notes.
When he's watching it
because he's showing that when he's watching
he's
it,
off
because he just doesn't understand. I think because his mother's always told him his point in life, because he was always laughing as a baby because his stepfather chained him to a radiator and beat his head in and gave him brain damage, so he can't stop laughing. And I love his little card. It's like, I have a condition. But then he just doesn't understand jokes, so he's just writing in his book, like, what's funny. It just felt like his only thought process of how he can fulfill this destiny his mother laid on him, who's been drugging him his whole life and fucking him up his whole life, was to be a comedian, because how else can you just go out to make people laugh? That's why he was a clown. He was a clown because he couldn't be a comic. So what's the
he's supposed to bring joy into people's life.
Life. So he's just looking for outputs to bring joy into people's life, and then he just fails.
So it's a little bit of Thor of like he's not. Everyone fails at the person they're supposed to be, kind of thing.
Right. And then the person he's meant to be, which is I think indicative of that line of, I thought my life was a tragedy, but now I know it's a fucking comedy, right before he smothers his mother to death. Right. But what are some plus points? He
crushed it.
Joaquin Phoenix is amazing.
Shit. Like, there are times, like, I just forgot I was watching him. You know what I mean? Like, which is hard to say because it's him without his shirt, waving his mug in the camera, like, inches away, like these extreme close-ups and shit. But, like, he sold that fucking performance, hard.
It's a testament to an actor to be able to be the fifth live-action interpretation of a character and still be completely or unique and original. Unlike, say, Jared Leto, who just fucking bombed that role so hard. But it gave me a new appreciation objectively for Jared Leto, because when you look at it, it's like crazy animated comic book version is the 1960s Joker. 1980s is tough guy mafia guy who just falls in acid and goes crazy. And then it's anarchist, ex-soldier probably, just pure, just only wants anarchy. Then it's what an actual gang boss, because he is the prince of crime, the clown prince of crime.
He drives around a Lamborghini, for God's sakes.
With his tattoos and his grill, would be a 2019 king of gangs.
And I think that's why I didn't mind it. People gave it so much shit.
His performance.
But I was just like, he looks like the dude from Die Antwoord. And if the dude from Die Antwoord was a fucking psychopath clown, he would look exactly like the way Jared Leto did. Like, he has the same mentality of just this playboy, look-at-me lifestyle shit.
I felt he was more of a Joker thug than the Joker, but at least it was an original interpretation. And that's why I like Joaquin Phoenix's approach, because he muddled through all of that and said, now I'm just going to find a completely new way, a new seed to grow this Joker tree from. And I really like what he did with it. I'm trying to think of some shitty things about it so we can meet. If you can come up with some good things you liked, and I'll think of some shitty. I hated the Waynes. We already said that.
I don't know. Why I don't know. It feels like Star Wars. We all mentioned Skywalker in every fucking Star Wars. It's like, really? Yeah. And again, it comes back to the fucking Waynes
seeing was it? Do you think it was a joke? Because honestly, I have no great respect or anything for Todd Phillips, Hangover guy, but he also made Todd Phillips, right? Yeah. But he also made Borat, so I mean, he's pretty.
Oh, Borat's great.
Right. So I have no problems with him. He just had a trilogy franchise to make billions of dollars from. He went with it. Yeah. Can't blame the guy for that. But hearing him talk about the movie he'd seen, like, apparently, I don't actually know how to pronounce his name, so that's why I keep calling him Joaquin Phoenix.
It's Joaquin.
Is that it?
Joaquin.
Just Joaquin Phoenix? Yeah. He was bitching about it in an interview about, like, I think the stupidest thing is they put the Waynes in, and then the director was kind of like, the way he's talking about the rest of the movie really made it feel like that was forced into them. Yeah. But then, here's the thing, and I know I'm going to sound like, because usually I'm the one shitting on stuff. We're in a bit of a role reversal right now. Right? But I would love if this kickstarted a new DCU. Just this weird, low-budget, artsy DC cinematic universe. Because where it would completely destroy the arc of the character to bring this character back, I kind of want to see Joaquin Phoenix going up against sexy vampire Batman. I kind of want to see that happen.
But the thing is, at that point, like, if we do go that route, I don't know, man. I don't think it works. I don't think you can pull a Batman story out of that. That movie is so uniquely. It's
because it would be 20 years later.
Well, it's also it's like this weird character study movie that, like, the second you take him out of that and just make him into a 2-dimensional fucking cartoon villain.
No, I thought about it. I thought of it earlier today, how you could do a sequel with him. Because clearly Joaquin Phoenix would not want anything to do with playing that character in some sort of Batman movie. Right. But if you said your character's only going to be in it for like 20 minutes of screen time, and the thing is, your whole arc was you wanted fame, you wanted the spotlight, you wanted to be the center of attention, you wanted a following, you finally got it, you achieved the dream of so many millennials who are just fucking miserable now because we didn't get what we wanted. Now imagine someone comes along and takes that spotlight from you.
Oh, it becomes about Batman.
And that's the fucking Batman.
That could work.
And how his just, like, I'm not going to allow this to happen. It'd be like an old an old actor and a young hot actor.
Or I was gonna think like whenever the family has another kid,
right?
And the little kid gets the older
all
sibling
the attention
gets all pissed off.
And I think
that would be interesting.
That would be an interesting way to kind of approach his dynamic with the Batman.
Did you ever see the Lego Batman movie?
I hate that movie.
The only thing I liked about it, I thought was legit funny, was the
relationship.
The Joker's motive would make perfect sense, in just the sense that Batman's like, you're not my number one villain.
Yeah.
Like, I like to fight around.
Yeah.
And the Joker's just like, we don't have something?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he feels like he has to go on this crazy...
The conception, I like the idea behind it, but watching the movie, it felt like an 1.5 hour long toy advertisement.
Oh, it was. It's called the Lego fucking movie.
It just bugged me, the pure, like... I don't know. I think this movie, and I don't want to shit on anyone who doesn't like it. I don't want to shit on anyone who fucking loves it, because I'm not gaga over this movie. I thought it was really good. But it just doesn't fit for like comic book people, it doesn't fit into the Marvel formula. And then for like Taxi Driver people, it's not that deep either.
Yeah.
So it has this midline that walks between them.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with it, because I'm like, hey, it's in the right direction for me, because I'm so fucking sick of Marvel movies.
Sure.
If this is a step towards more independent cinema styled superhero outings, I'm fucking down for that.
I was thinking that on the way here. I'm like, if that's the mass takeaway from this, is that it pushes us in a direction like Logan did. Without Logan, you don't get to Deadpool.
Without Deadpool, you don't get to Joker.
Exactly. So I like to think that this was just pushing the pieces in another direction. But that is, you 100% nailed it. That is the problem I had with it, where it's like it was one foot trying to be a comic book movie, one foot trying to be the Scorsese movie. So you just kind of end up with this tepid version of both.
In the middle of the two.
And I'm
with a performance that deserves an Oscar in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Which I think elevates the whole damn thing.
He locks it all down. But then the problem with that too is that you kind of just end up with everyone orbiting around this guy, and I don't give a shit about anyone else in that movie but that guy.
I guess that's fair when the opening credit sequence is the size of the screen, just says Joker.
Exactly.
I think he's in almost every
I think
frame.
he's the only character who's in every single scene.
Yeah. Which I guess it makes sense.
It makes sense, because again, like, it's just a massive character study about this one guy, but like, Zazie Beetz, I'm like, I love you to death, but I'm like, you didn't have to be here. Like, if you remove any one of those subplots to me, I'm like, they're so dismissible and interchangeable. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I needed this dude to to snap.
Yeah, he needed his reasons. His checklist.
And I guess just like having that's what brings it down for me, is like a failed relationship and the Wayne family. I'm like, really? Those are like the top two.
And his mother lying to him his whole life.
That's a good one, but just stay on that track. Yeah. Like, I didn't need all the like don't half-ass.
I think he needed the domino effect though, and I agree that
because she played Domino in Deadpool.
I guess it would be the domino effect. But do you think he killed her? You never saw her again after he was in her apartment.
Well, that's just the thing, after the finger gun thing, and also maybe he just kills all the black women in the movie. He just doesn't like black women.
He was the
nurse at
psychiatrist
the end. Yeah.
I did like the what's the old comedy sketch? Benny Hill.
The Benny Hill running back and forth.
Ending.
That was a great way to end it, just because you're like, what the fuck, and then he runs by again. And you're like, what the fuck?
Well, I want to address though his dance, because you kind of made fun of it, but I love that dance because it starts off hilarious, where it's like he's like, oh, you dance so great, really, thanks, and he's like having a conversation with himself as if he's at a nightclub, and you're laughing at it, and then when he's doing it later, it's kind of sad, and you're like, it's such a weird, gross, like Joaquin Phoenix has such a gross body to begin with, and he knows how to manipulate it, so it's just fucking gross looking, contorting around, and then it gets sad, but then by the time he's doing it at the end, it's fucking terrifying,
right? Where
you're like, this psychopath is just feeling and moving how he wants to move in the music in his head, and it's creepy.
One of the scenes,
it's awkward, and it's terrifying.
That was one thing I should say. The score I liked a lot too.
Who did it?
I don't know. I should have looked up on the way here.
It was simplistic but very effective.
Yeah, like in terms of like, it felt like a French avant-garde sad clown movie, just low cello strings.
But then every time the Joker popped up, it was like that, like almost Logan style, that boom, the heavy bass, boom.
It was really cool.
Boom.
But the one sequence to me, like, honestly, was just the short film within the larger movie that I loved to death, was just him on the subway. Mm-hmm. The way that was shot, the way like the lights kept cutting out, and again, like, it ends with him going from hyperventilating to just doing this weird dance. Alone in a dirty Gotham bathroom.
Fucking weird.
You're like, can you imagine opening the door and seeing a clown covered in blood dancing in a bathroom? You're
isn't
like,
that
horrifying.
Isn't that a kind of good Joker?
That to me was the crucible
moment.
Yeah, I like that moment a bit. Actually.
I heard something. One of these bullshit like online quote unquote journalists, like journalism type shit. like BuzzFeed or something, was bitching. It was hilarious about how misinterpreted things can be, because they were bitching about how after the Joker brutally kills a guy with a pair of scissors, it then plays that hockey song.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What is this? Some sort of rom-com? Is it socially smart to have such a comedic scene? Like what's the word I'm looking for here? Just to juxtapose such a brutal murder with such a poppy song. What is this, Guardians of the Galaxy? Like that's not good for culture and people." It's like, but the underscore of that music was it's game time. He's now the Joker.
Yeah.
He's now taken the last step. He's in his fucking outfit, and it's time to play ball. You know,
Right.
the puck's about to hit the ice. So I really enjoyed it on that level. But it's just funny seeing, and if you can misinterpret that moment so badly, I
Right.
can't imagine what people are misinterpreting about the whole movie.
Sure.
Like, it's an exploration of I like that it doesn't hammer it on the head. It keeps it simple. That it just talks about how society abandons the mentally ill.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Right.
And what can lead someone down a horrible path. And I agree with you that the choices could have been a little tighter as to what... Because the mother thing is amazing. A little weaker with Zazie Beetz.
Yeah.
The Wayne thing I fucking hated.
Exactly, yeah.
But I admire the effort. Especially when you have a major studio breathing down your neck. And you're doing everything to create an indie flick.
Yeah.
With Warner Brothers breathing down your neck. I think they walked that line as well as they ever could.
Right.
You know?
I'm trying to think of other ways, because the problem is with that character is, like, once you get rid of his job, it all becomes about his personal life. Because, again, I'm thinking about, like, Travis Bickle and fucking Taxi Driver. Almost, like, there weren't a lot of ways to have his character kind of push boundaries and grow,
right.
Other than being like, well, maybe he's no good at fucking dating people. Well, maybe he gets fired from his job. It's like, but... There's got to be something else you can do
I know,
with them.
but
like,
it's
they just
tough.
they picked like the easiest stories to tell. You know what I mean?
But like, it's tough though because it's and again, I'm always rallying against classic heroes' journey and stuff. But then what other? They use the classic ones to appeal to the most people possible, which is what you got to do when you got people breathing down your neck to make money.
Right.
You go a little too avant-garde with it, no one's gonna fucking go see it. That's what Jared Leto's Joker was.
Sure.
Super avant-garde of like, we're gonna turn him into this tatted up king of crime, contemporary reality mobster psycho. No one liked it.
I think there was so much quiet subtlety to now I'm doing it. The Joaquin Phoenix version.
I called him Jaqueen for my whole life, like since I saw Gladiator. So it's so hard to get it out of my head. Yeah.
I feel like he had the ability to hold the movie, and again, I don't know how much collaboration it goes in the process of being like between the writers and the fucking directors and everything. Like when you're working a huge studio
on something that size.
But it's just like it could have just been a little tighter. And I'm just coming from someone who watched the movie and didn't make millions of dollars fucking making it.
Yeah.
But having said that, as an audience member, I just sat there half the time being like, there's a lot of error in this, and the moments that are supposed to be impactful aren't as impactful as they could be.
Okay, fair enough.
But again, because that guy's so good at being that character, like the scene where he's in the stairwell going through his mother's history and realizing like, oh, she was wrong, I fucked up. Like the reason I am like this is all her fucking fault.
Her boyfriend beat the shit out of me and gave me brain damage.
Yeah, I've suppressed all these memories of being chained to a rat and shit. Like I could have used more of that than him like fucking stabbing homeboy in the eye or starting a fucking.
That was great though.
Starting a fucking 1% subplot about like fuck the rich, we're the jokers. I'm like,
wait, I think does the opening scene encapsulates the whole movie because he has a sign that says everything must go, and he's literally beaten over the head with it. That kind of encapsulates the whole fucking movie because everything has to go for him to be free to be this insane person,
right?
And they beat the audience over the head with it.
And within the first 10 minutes of the movie too.
It kind of encapsulates the whole damn thing.
No, I gotta admit, man, like you saying that, like for example, that his laugh at the end is the first genuine laugh he has because it's him kind of unlocking his Joker self. I maybe gotta see it again. I don't know. Like,
you think it might grow on you?
It might.
Maybe I'll see it again and hate it, and then we could do a follow-up podcast.
A follow-up over just like Joker Part 2. The fuck?
I didn't see it the first time, man. This movie was I was sleep deprived. I had a puppy.
You could have shown me a fucking laser pointer on a wall for 20 minutes. I would have been amused as fuck.
Give it all the Oscars. I'm really tired, but I'm trying to think what else.
Where does the Joaquin Joker for you in terms of
ranges of Jokers?
Yeah.
That's what I appreciate about all the Jokers is they're so different. It's hard to put one above the other.
Yeah, it's true.
I really don't like Jared Leto's Joker. I really don't. And maybe if they'd had more than 30 seconds of screen time to flesh him out. I don't like his laugh, his ha 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 ha.
Oh, I remember that from the full confession. I still haven't really seen Suicide Squad.
No, it's a horrible movie. Don't waste your time. And Joker's in it for literally, I think they counted out to like 3.5 minutes or something in the whole movie, and they cut his part down so much. There's no way to really judge him other than visually, and I think he visually looks fucking horrible.
Right.
His laugh is terrible. I don't like Jared Leto to begin with.
At least I knew he was damaged.
You hear the explanation for that, though?
What?
It was when Batman... because Batman beat his teeth in, that's why he had the grill. And they took him to Arkham and tried to give him...
The brand?
Electroshock therapy.
Electroshock.
So he said that his perfect criminal brain had been damaged by electroshock therapy, so he put damaged across his head. Okay. That was their thought process behind it. It's fucking stupid.
Okay.
Why did every character in that movie was covered in tattoos? It was weird. I think...
Harley Quinn had them.
But I guess everyone did.
Really?
Literally every character had tattoos that defined their character in some
tattoos
fashion.
are for bad people and pirates per
So
the 80s.
The director...
when the movie was set.
Right. The director really liked tattoos and then just wanted to overuse the fuck out of them. But yeah, as to your question, it's hard because he's brilliant performance by Joaquin Phoenix. Jack Nicholson is just fucking Jack Nicholson.
Yep.
He has no depth to that character. He's just boogieing down to Prince.
He loves art.
He loves art.
And he loves Prince.
And then Heath Ledger's Joker is... I think now it's sort of like comparing Heath Ledger to... like just the depth of the character to Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Heath Ledger almost seems more two-dimensional now because he's just chaos.
Yeah.
That's all he is. What's your motivation? Chaos. Why? Fuck you, chaos.
Right.
I'm just a complete sociopath.
Right.
And Arthur Fleck has a little more humanity to him, which I guess is objectively dangerous in 2019. Because when the scene on the subway when he shot those guys, I was like, fuck yeah. I actually was like, yeah! And then I thought, someone like... because I'm pretty crazy, but I'm not... I'm functioning crazy.
Right.
Someone like an inch more crazy than me could be really inspired by that.
And be taking the subway home from the movies.
Right.
Yeah.
And just be like, oh, some jackass is harassing a woman. Boom.
Right.
But then again, hey, fucking jackasses harassing women probably deserve a bullet to the head.
Or the nuts.
Right? There's 7 billion of us. We can't care so much about these monsters.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm a functioning psychopath.
Yeah. Again, and the nuts, then they can't reproduce.
That's true, and they'll probably just bleed out. Let's be fair.
I think they should have to live with the fact that they got shot in the nuts for trying to assault a woman.
I think they
gotta
just
live with that.
Pull the nuts down and then shoot them so they don't hit the femoral artery there. But did I say that right? Femoral artery. So we've talked about this. I'm so fucking tired. I'm gonna bounce around like a cat after a laser pointer. We've talked about this before, how like 100% no reasonable doubt whatsoever rape cases should just be castrated. Just get rid of that testosterone.
You don't need that in this fucking mix,
right? Then any doubt though, any shade of doubt, you can never castrate an innocent person.
Right.
Fucking one's caught on tape or something.
Right.
Good punishment.
And also, I'm sure it would keep the numbers down.
Keeps their numbers down. They can't reproduce. Gets rid of all their testosterone. They're going to become like an old fat cat who's been fixed.
That's just the worst fucking image in my head of just a bunch of fucking people. Hello, sir. My name is Todd Phillips. I just moved to the neighborhood, and I want you to know I have been charged with sexual assault.
Like it's Todd Phillips, the director of the Joker.
I didn't even think it. I just picked the first generic name that popped in my head. Sorry, Todd Phillips. I'm not calling you a fat pederast.
The thing is, they said yet. The operative word being yet. He said that Joker will never go up against Batman, but they're considering a sequel, and that bums me out because they, in my opinion, again, all power to anyone who hated it. I think they nailed that character, Arthur Fleck's descent into madness. I don't want to see the next chapter of his life. I want to see him in the mix with the larger universe now. Because they established there's a larger universe. They're not in New York. They're in fucking Gotham City.
Right.
So he is part of a bigger world, and I think that actor could really pull off support. Like, he could steal the show being in the movie for 10 minutes.
Right.
I want to see him mix in other things. I don't want to see another chapter of Arthur Fleck's life. We've seen it. He's Joker now.
Right.
Done. We just need to find what the Joker would motivate the Joker to do his next thing. Mm-hmm. Which requires other characters.
Right.
But they very pretentiously were like, "You will never meet Batman." I don't know why Todd Phillips is Todd Phillips.
Apparently he's a fucking French guy now.
French guy, castrated pedophile.
No, I was thinking, it took me like 2/3 through this movie. Now I remember what I was originally going to say in the beginning. Is that back in the day, whenever the Joker used to be a dude who just was the Red Hood, fell into some acid, came out, he was pressed into the job. You know, he was kind of like...
Failed comedian, owed the mob some money.
Yeah.
The idea of the Red Hood was that they had a patsy for every...
He was like Oswald. Like, he was a patsy. He was fucking essentially framed by this fucking... held or forced into the job by these gangster companies.
Yeah.
So that's his breaking point. He was like, I was supposed to trust these guys. They're supposed to get me money. And now look at me. I'm this fuck up. And everything's gone to shit. So he snaps. And I don't know, for like Arthur, he's just a guy with makeup. He's just a loony dude who stops taking his meds.
Who knows what Arkham will do to him? Maybe he had to have...
Likes to dance.
He loves... I like... Because it was so disturbing. It reminded me of something from The Master, the Paul Thomas Anderson.
Oh, right.
One of my lesser enjoyed Paul Thomas Anderson movies, but just his character in that. Just this little drunk fucking ex-Marine getting into Scientology, and he's always all curled up and gross.
All broken.
He's always tiny next to everyone.
Yeah.
And gross looking. And it just reminded me of a dance he would do.
Sure.
It just
I was trying to think, what's the last Joaquin Phoenix movie I saw, and it was that You Were Never Really Here.
I never saw that.
It's good, but I'm just imagining him all fat dancing around with a ball peen hammer as he caves dudes' heads in. It's somehow even more terrifying.
Yeah. But then where did it... Like, I think the idea of Joker being some sort of master tactician of plans came from The Dark Knight.
I know. I mean, like in the animated series, in the comics, he's always organizing like killer bees and like audiences and shit and
silly
gases
comic book
and
stuff, but I never saw him as some sort of master tactician.
He's supposed to be brilliant. He's like one of the smartest of Batman's rogues gallery.
Really? Is that a more modern take on him?
No, I think that's always been in there. He's a super villain.
I mean, he just beat Robin to death with a hammer.
Because that was fucked.
Right? But like there was nothing like super Lex Luthor level. Like I always thought Lex Luthor was the brains. Joker was just hilarity and insanity.
I'm thinking of like, Joker's. Have you ever seen Red Joker's Last Laugh? Where he fucking just snaps. Basically, he finds out he's terminally ill. And so he's just like, I'm going to go on the last hurrah of my entire life. And he just goes on like this global rampage. And like the entire Justice League has to get involved to stop him and shit. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that no fucking like stooge could pull that off. You got to be like, he's got money. He's got planes. He's got Bob.
He's got Bob.
Like
he killed Bob. He shot him because he lost his balloon.
He's got my balloons.
He stole my balloons.
I love that delivery. He sounds like an 8-year-old kid.
Yeah,
my balloons.
No, I love objectively that he shot his number one man because someone stole his balloons. Batman stole his balloons.
It's the best. But having said that, yeah, I think he's supposed to be like brilliant.
I don't maybe
think about it, because like even in like the Arkham games, dude breaks out of
he's always got his plan.
Yeah, that's
plan. That's a very like that is a more modern approach. Like the character's 90 years old, 70, 85 years old now. I don't know. I don't know if he's always been this master tactician or if he's risen to this super villain because of all his modern interpretations.
Because there's been like 6 of them, and each one's been more popular than the last one.
Right. So you have to keep building them up.
You ever seen the one where Batman exposes his boner?
What?
It became an internet meme, but it's just basically...
Oh, no, I have seen that.
You're like, what?
The boner, because I guess boner meant like
a gaff.
A gaff.
He screwed up somehow, but there's this infamous panel where the Joker's like, I'll show them, they're all going to laugh at my boner.
Yeah. And ironically, you see Joaquin Phoenix's
jacking
penis. When's he jacking it?
He's jacking it in the movie. Whenever you ever notice that? It's not brought up, but after he murders his mom, he's sitting in the bed, where another thing about that movie, who the fuck runs a late night show in the 80s, and is like, I'm going to show you footage from a fucking shitty stand-up bar where somehow someone got...
It seemed almost like a Howard Stern gotcha type thing. Yeah.
VHS footage of some poor dude who's clearly mentally unstable.
Yeah.
And they just... I'm like, how... Was it a slow news week or something?
Hey, man, it's the 80s.
Who filmed this shit? What's going... Like,
I didn't have a real umbrage with that because it did feel like a shock jock type of douchebag move.
that scene just felt like they wrote it, and they were like, so someone films them, what, like on their phone? And they're like, oh, wait.
VHS recorder.
VHS recorder? I don't want to change it. Shit. Like...
Because when he's in his tighty whities dancing, you can clearly see his wiener flopping around, which is a little unsettling.
I was thinking of the scenes right when they call him and they're like, hey, we're from the show and we'd like to have you on. He's in the background and he's clearly got his hand down his...
Oh, yeah,
he's jerking it. And I was just like,
that.
What the...
He must have again been interpreting the master, because I think he's constantly jerking off.
Well, maybe it was just because he killed his mom. It's some sort of Oedipus thing where he's just like, she's dead, and I'm thinking I think he's in her bed. Like, I don't know.
But it's I really loved that scene when when his face was painted completely white and his two friends showed up to comfort him, quote unquote, but they were just trying to find out to see what he told the cops, and just his whole delivery and that whole meal was like, yeah, she's dead. No, it's pretty great. And how he's just hanging off of...
I like the way he positioned himself with those creepy arms, like gnarly arms hanging off.
And it's just white face.
No makeup, just the white face.
Just the white.
Yeah, that's unsettling as shit.
But I know, because that's the thing, I kind of like... I think anyone who has a passing understanding of how movies work and was stupid enough to watch that second trailer knowing how much it would have given away.
Yeah.
I knew Robert... Like, I remember when that trailer came out, or my one friend posted it in our group chat, and I was like... So we're going to see Robert De Niro get shot in the face on live TV, right? Like 2 months ago. So I knew that was going to happen. But a person, again, for me, and again, maybe I'm fucking exhausted from being up for 6 days with a puppy. But the interaction between them was so tense. The whole third act was so tense.
Right.
If I hadn't been so exhausted that I was just flopped in a reclining theater seat, I would have been on the proverbial edge of my seat. Like, it was great.
The whole interview part?
The whole interview part. And then the whole third act, I thought, like... really picked up. I really enjoyed when the riot started and the release of the Joker, and he finally finds his fame and his fans are surrounding him and he's doing his dance. I really enjoyed it because that was a moment, like, if it had been more artistic, a spotlight would have hit him in that moment because he's finally in the spotlight.
I like the takeaway that they smashed up, the dude's commandeered an ambulance, smashed up that cruiser to free him, but he was so preoccupied with dancing on the fucking hood of that cop car that he just got arrested and brought to Arkham anyways.
Like, well, because then that plays into that the whole thing was just a story the Joker was telling
in his fucking head.
Here's my question. If that had been panel-based story in a comic book, would you have hated it as much? Or no, you don't hate it. It doesn't seem like you hate it.
No, it was just disappointing how much air there was. And I was like, oh, that seemed kind of fucking aimless. If it was a comic book and it ended like the exact same way, like he's just like...
And you're like, oh, this whole thing may have been a story of the Joker's.
It's a good question. Again, because it feels like fucking... You know, remember Dallas Who Shot JR? And they... Yeah. Okay, and they did this whole season where fucking all this shit happened to characters that weren't even involved with the JR murder, and it turned out all to be a dream. So that whole season was for fucking nothing.
Like the season of Roseanne.
Did that happen too in Roseanne?
Mm-hmm. Because the last season they're rich, and it turns out to be a book that Roseanne was writing.
Well, that's the most offensive thing that Roseanne Barr has ever done on that show.
Did you see her on Joe Rogan?
No.
She seems like she's like the Joker. She was in an accident and has serious brain damage. And so it's
she always has seemed like that, though. She did that laugh at the opening title sequence and everything.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you. I don't know what you were saying there. Roseanne on Joe Rogan, she seems really lovable. She's like, I'm not fucking racist. I'm not fucking Republican or Democrat. And then she goes from like crying and apologizing for what she did to, in a flash, saying, fuck anyone who gets offended by me. I don't care. See, she has brain damage. She literally has brain damage.
That's what I was about to say. I'm just like,
sorry for Roseanne.
I'm like, how much of that? Because in her head, they were trying to get her on the show for so long. So she probably built it up in her head, like, you have to go in here with this fucking apology, blah blah blah. But then the second she got that out of the way, she just regresses back and like, I don't give a fuck.
She flips back and forth through the whole thing.
Does she?
Like, she goes from manic, forgive me, to manic, go fuck yourself, multiple times.
Gotcha.
But Joe Rogan even talks about the fact that she has brain damage and how it affects her life. And it's sad. Now I feel really bad for Roseanne that she made some stupid joke, but a person she didn't even know was fucking black. And now she lost everything because of it.
And she fucked Tom Arnold.
Yeah. Who's that worse for, though? That's like equal... That's like a grizzly bear fighting a polar bear. I don't know who comes out on top in that one.
It's like my dad getting murdered by my mom. It's like, that's getting worse the more I think about it. Like, oh,
this
God.
Just spirals into madness. But
spiraling into madness. Theme of the day.
Ultimately, I have to give the old Siskel and Ebert thumbs up to Joker. I think you got to go see it. I think you got to judge it for yourself, and don't listen to us or anybody else. It's a movie that it's not. Everyone before even seeing the goddamn movie was bitching about how this is going to cause fucking violence in our society.
Ironically, though, John Wick comes out where he kills like 48 dudes in less time than it takes to say it. No one says shit.
And those people must all be eating their words if they actually take the time to go see the movie and see that it is a little heavy-handed and on the nose, but it is about mental illness and how the system fails people and how that's going to erupt in violence if we don't do something about it. So all these like people just vomiting out their bullshit are gonna really probably... Well, no, they'll find a way to fucking talk around it and make themselves still right.
Almost as poor a decision as those people I saw getting the Joaquin Phoenix Joker tattooed on them before the movie came
People
out.
did that?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah, bro. Like, people were getting, like, Heath Ledger, Arthur Fleck ones, like, paired up and shit like that.
It's like a Jar Jar tattoo. Well, actually, even though he's a great performance, so there's that. I mean,
it's from the perspective just like, really? Like, stop that. Stop fucking going nuts for shit before you fucking see it. For better
things.
Well, you don't fucking flip out about a movie inciting violence when there has been no violence to be incited. Like, I'm so sick of this shit.
Yeah, because nothing happened.
Nothing fucking happened.
No.
Ironically, the Batman movie did that shit.
Yeah, and it had nothing to do with Batman.
And the Joker wasn't even in that one. So
I thought he shot up Dark Knight. He shot up Rises?
It was Rises.
And he wasn't even emulating the Joker. He just had red hair.
Yep.
But people just jumped on it as if it was the Joker.
Yeah.
He just shot up. So it could have been any movie in theaters that week.
Yep.
And then they blamed Batman. And then the family of the victims are the ones who were bitching about the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
But...
It's the Marilyn Manson back in the Columbine thing all over again.
Yeah.
Like, all fucking over again.
Have you listened to Marilyn Manson recently?
God, no.
He was on the radio.
God, no. I'm sure he's as lecherous an interview as he is to look at.
No, have you listened to his music recently?
God, no.
Because he was on the radio when I was driving up a few weeks ago, and it shocked me how tame it was.
He's like 50-something, isn't he?
His old music. Beautiful. He was beautiful people playing. And I just remember back when that came out in, 97, 98, something like that. It was like, this is fucking crazy music. This is devil music. The beats are so crazy, blah, blah, fucking blah. And then I listened to it now in 2019. It's like, this is so quaint.
Yep. Bullshit, dude. They did the same thing about Alice Cooper, about Kiss, about Black Sabbath.
So
like,
quaint.
They always need someone to point their finger at. But you listen to fucking Paranoid now, you're like, I don't think it's Satan. I just want to go for a drive and maybe throw a bowling ball through a window like Dazed and Confused style. But that's about it.
So does that mean religious people are right and Satan's won? Now that we're listening back to me,
honestly,
that's what it means.
Yeah, totally.
So Satan is one.
Well, clearly he has the better taste in music.
So
have you heard Christian rock?
Oh yeah,
it's fucking awful.
Yeah, it's just fucking horrible. Can we just end this podcast by chanting "Hail Satan, Hail Satan, Hail Satan" over and over again? How do you pronounce that backwards? That'd be great if right now poof, a little demon showed up and just appeared.
Or better yet, you just hear it on the lo-fi audio, just really quietly, like.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna freak me out later. Oh, did you know that Alec Baldwin almost was Thomas Wayne? That would have
been great.
Really? I thought that would have been terrible.
It would have been too much star power, I think, but he would have fit the role though.
He would have physically fit the role, but I would not have been able to not see Jack Donaghy.
He would have been he would have been Jack Donaghy entirely.
Yeah.
But it would have been good casting. Like I kind of like the way there weren't too many famous people in that.
Who was that guy? I reckon he's one of those people I said to Sam earlier, where it's like, I recognize that I don't recognize him.
Yeah.
But I know him.
Because he has a little bit of the dude... I'm going to kick myself for forgetting his name. Who plays Mance Rayder.
Oh, yeah.
And he has a little bit of the dude from the neighbor dad from American Beauty that shoots Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, it's like those two just mushed together.
If you put him in that machine from The Fly, that dude from Joker would walk out the other side.
Yeah. And the guy that the Joker stabs with the knife, or the scissors.
Yes.
Who's that
He's
guy?
recognizable, too. The second he showed up in the beginning, I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? And the funny thing is...
Is he in Barry?
He's the fucking big guy from Barry.
He's the big guy from Barry.
Holy shit, but he has an accent. He's Russian in that one. Yeah, he is.
With his fish lips.
Yeah. And the dopey eyes. The funny thing is they casted that dude almost exactly like the same guy as the guy who gives Travis Bickle the gun in the paper bag.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was watching like, wow, he looks... I think they're intentionally casting people to look the part, because even Zazie Beetz has echoes of the chick from King of Comedy.
That's Scorsese executive producer.
Yeah.
So he was just like, yeah, put my name on it, and then you're gonna get a lot more funding.
That is something you should see.
Yeah,
that is something you should see, my friend.
Yeah.
I like to think that like he read the script and he was like, oh, you're dropping that many references to my flick, so I get a cut of this shit. I can be a producer. Yeah. Oh fuck yes.
Yeah. Well, as soon as you see executive in front of producer, you know they're just using their name to get investors on board.
Yeah.
And they have very little say.
Right.
In anything.
Listen, it's I as a huge fan of the character, as a Joaquin Phoenix fan, I was entertained. Totally, 100%. Are you not entertained? I was totally entertained. I love the soundtrack. The soundtrack was great. I love the aesthetic of Gotham City. Again, it was just the plot. At certain points, it just kind of felt like... It's like when you're driving and like you all of a sudden it's winter and your car starts to list a little bit towards the left and you have to like, wait, what? And you have to like auto-correct it. Yeah. But sometimes you go a little too far and then you have to correct backwards. It kept doing that.
Kind of kept swerving.
The second like we go to Wayne Manor and we got him fingering Bruce Wayne's mouth, we got to fucking go back to him in the theater talking to Thomas Wayne in the bathroom. I'm like, Jesus, no, just stay in the middle. I don't like being ham-fistedly given shit like this, you know? And I don't know, it was enough that it took me out of it, is I guess the what I'm trying to say.
Fair enough.
But having said that, it's alright. It's alright. I like Joaquin.
We should hopefully it'll inspire some people to put on clown masks and riot.
Well, that happened last year. Don't you remember the crazy clown scare of 2018, or was it 17?
Was it somehow related to ICP?
Unfortunately, no. There was no day glow being sprayed onto folk.
Aww.
So basically, or fey glow, I should say.
Oh, all the clowns are showing up everywhere. You're talking about those? All the its?
Remember, like, they were just hanging out by the edges of woods and, like, hanging off fucking, like, billboards and shit like that?
That fascinates me. Because that has to be, like, there's a mentality there of a group of people who are trying to achieve something, but what exactly it is very hazy.
I think you're giving too much credence to a bunch of people who just go online, see like, oh, this is trending, I'll get attention if I fucking just do this shit.
Type of person, they don't get attention and no one knows who they are. So that's an interesting psychology.
There's crazy clown people out there.
Because no one, like, it's not like, oh, Jim, you were on TV last night.
They're all anonymous.
All anonymous.
But then it all went away at the same time, so it just leads me to believe they're just these media attention fucking losers. Like, if it became a thing, then sure, but it didn't.
I hope the world is interesting enough that they were ancient demons taking the form of clowns.
Yes.
And feeding off fear.
They were just a bunch of Pennywises.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, now you sold me.
Right?
Yeah.
I hope, but the world's not that interesting.
It could be. We don't know. Maybe that's just what it took. Is like some sort of weird incentive. They're like, this demon can see both forwards and backwards in time, and like, don't worry. In a couple years, scary clowns are going to be hot.
They're going to be huge.
They're going to be huge. Now is the time. We strike while the iron's hot.
You know the world we do live in? In 20 years, they'll do a documentary and reveal that it was guerrilla marketing for It.
It might have been.
the theatrical release of It.
And not the lizard people that we hope it is.
Oh.
I just want it to be lizard people.
I really wish lizard people were real.
How awful would it be they take off the clown mask and it's just a horrible lizard person
underneath? That would be great. I hope the earth is hollow and there's dinosaurs down there.
Unicorns.
Aquaman.
Yep.
Just chilling with that giant... Did you ever end up seeing Aquaman?
Fuck no.
Whatever. It's so... I would not recommend it outside of a giant theater because it is...
That's exactly... Well, that and fucking redheads, bro. I couldn't do it. I can't.
Dude, bro, Aquaman.
Can't do it.
It's so stupid.
Maybe he'll fight the Joker. Anyways.
They own all the rights. Anything could happen.
Exactly.
But, want to take us out, sir?
All right, guys. That's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in. You can check out more episodes on iTunes, on YouTube, and... Tune in next week for an exciting part 2 of 2 of our 1994 retrospective, and Jesus Christ, it's like watching the movie all over again.
So great?
See you next week, guys!
Bye!